quiet room a little late, when no one has to name the sky or tell the heart the reason why.
A woman comes alive unseen. 1,000 things are in between, and you don't rush to make them clear. You simply stay, you simply hear.
Stay with the question, stay with the unknown. Let what is hidden find its way home. Don't close the window,
Don't silence the sea.
there is a wisdom in what we don't see.
Between the mother and the child, between the fearful and the wild,
Between the doctor and the soul, you search for what could make them whole. Not choosing science against the heart,
not tearing knowledge into parts,
but bringing distant worlds near until they could finally hear. Stay with the question, stay with the unknown. Let what is hidden find its way home. 5 ways of knowing, one life unfolding, and no little child can be put in one mold. Stay with the question, stay with the unknown, for life is much larger than what we have known. And perhaps this is what you taught us: not every mystery needs an immediate answer. Sometimes the greatest act of care is to remain beside it long enough for the life within it to speak and listen.
It's a great opportunity to get together and talk about what has made you as part of this series of the days and works of significant pioneers in the field of prenatal sciences. So thank you for responding to our invitation.
I'm very happy. Thank you, Olga.
Well, Rupert, let's start from the beginning. When were you born and where?
I remember your order, but I wonder if we take it in another order. Well, I was born, I can start with that, but then I'll tell you why I may do it in another way. I was born in Heidelberg in May 1950. And it was a very difficult birth. And maybe that's one reason why I came to the place where I am. because there have been many difficult things. And I'm not sure if we start off with the current times or maybe the last decades and then go back to where the origins and other conditions are certainly of importance. So, I mean, I came into obstetrics in 1976. And I had a few pictures. I can send them, I can show it to you.
Great.
And just a little later. So, and then we go back, like in psychotherapy, as I have my both professions, at least two, maybe more, and being obstetrician and gynecologist and being psychotherapist. And so I came into this ward after my studies, and I thought that's an interesting field. There was during my study of medicine, medical school, there was a practicum, intern for some days into the delivery ward of the university in Freiburg, where I was. And so we took our toothbrush and some stuff and went in for 4 days to see what's happening and to attend births and what's going on in obstetrics. Because at that time, when I did medical school exam, it was 75, which is quite some time ago, as you know. And it was necessary to have the knowledge necessary to be a general practitioner. And that was surgery, internal medicine, and obstetrics. Because it was thought that just in case, if necessary, a doctor should be able to help the midwife if there's something. So it was those 3 big fields and certainly 22 other fields, but the big 3 were those. So I was there during a birth, and it was a great impression for me. Really, I like the cell swamp, something. I was really sucking all things going on there, and I felt there is a relation. This is something that was touching me.
Can you share a detail of a moment when the inspiration really got into you?
Well, there were some. One was saying, young midwife, we were all young. A midwife was selling, and when I'm talking about the 4 methodological levels, I'm often putting that. The midwife was saying, and that's general experience of the professions. And one midwife was telling, oh, it depends. She can say if she see the woman and if they have a relaxed mouth, she can tell it will be an easier birth. I thought, oh, that was new for me at that time. But it's great. I mean, it's a great knowledge by some intentional experience. So that was one of the points. And another, I guess, was a cry of a woman during birth. And yeah, so somehow this was a very great impression.
I see.
And so I went on, and I have a few pictures of my early. I may also share it if I'm allowed. Let me see where I have them. Now that's me rather young. And let me see, I can go the next one. And I can send you the pictures later. That's with my mother,
What is the name of your mom?
Ilsegret.
Right. And are you the only child in the family?
No, I have an older brother,
What is his name?
Malte. There you see him.
Yes.
That's me, that's my father. And this is my brother. He's 8 years older.
8 years. And the name of your father is
Fritz.
good.
He was a surgeon.
Uh-huh.
And my brother also later.
Right.
And my mother was a photographer. She did a study in the 30s, but she did not do it professionally anymore after our birth.
Uh-huh.
And it was after war.
What
I
kind
mean,
of person is your mom? Because to be a photographer in the 70s, 60s,
no, she was in the
50s,
30s. She did
30s,
studied in the 30s.
that is not something you see that often. So what kind of person was your mom?
I guess I come to that later.
All right, then.
Because I want to do the current things and then view back.
Okay, take your...
Yeah, because it's also related with how we can deal with trauma.
Ah, okay.
And I think we can talk about trauma endlessness. But the main thing is how can we improve the resilience?
Great.
So if you always look on the trauma, you're stuck there. You
Yes,
cannot move forward. So
absolutely.
I like to look in another way, but we will come to it. Yeah. So
Great.
let me show you some more. I'm changing now. That's me as a young doctor in the lab. It's in the mirror.
Yes.
And operating. That was new in the 70s, looking through the small holes. Another
Yeah.
was young. That was a fun picture in the operating theater with the senior physician.
As we can see,
That,
always one hand above everybody else. Quite tall.
huh?
Always one hand above
Yeah,
everybody else.
yeah, that was one of the most real moving. Well, there are so many moving. That's why I still like to work. You can help so much.
Yeah.
This is a child seriously sick, and I go to the next. That's the children's doctor. And I had a specialty. I was and I'm very good in ultrasound. And this very moving because this kid was the first one living with that
Oh
disease
my goodness.
worldwide.
It still touches you, Rupert.
Hmm?
It still touches your heart
Hmm?
years after that.
83.
Oh, goodness.
Um, it had a pseudothorax on both sides. The pleura full of water, and it inevitably would have died if we would not have found out. And I saw it, and we did not know what it was. Somehow, the lungs were like wings paddling in the thorax in the water. And I saw that, and we talked all together with all doctors we knew. And this was Dr. Meyer, the children's surgeon in Karlsruhe. And at that time, we knew if it was born, it would die immediately because it could not breathe. And so we did a cesarean, and they punctured the pleura, and they put in air into the lung by tubes, intubation, and it could breathe. And they went home 3 weeks after. So that was very moving.
Thank you.
So I stopped that. Although it looks so hard. Yeah.
But also so inspiring for all of us.
Mm-hmm. And we did publish it. It really was a worldwide first to survive that disease in a rather small hospital in Karlsruhe.
Have you got any news of this, about this child?
No, what I heard was that that went home well after 3 weeks, and well, that was, yeah. Yeah.
I
So that
guess.
was very hardcore thing. I mean, there are many which do not look that. I mean, those are certainly the extreme things. There are many, at least looking more tiny things every day, so to say. Because now in the 90s, well, I went through OBGYN and I did my degree, and I always knew during studies, I already was interested in psychotherapy, and I knew that medicine is just two sides. It's the medical aspect and it's the psycho and social aspect. And I guess this knowledge or this background is moving me ever since. I mean, I was always on the different sides of the thing working, because I think that's the real life. You cannot only stick on the physical side. It's important. I mean, for this child, it was important to know it. But I mean, you need all the other stuff. I mean, getting a child is for the couple is. I have 5 children. The daughter is the oldest, and I have 4 sons after. And I mean, it's getting a child is one of the biggest adventure one can imagine. I mean, I think there's not much more that is changing life more than this thing. And so it's very emotional. It always was for me. I mean, it's not surprising. I mean, relation and sexuality is, and but that's the result, and it opens up a new door and a new thing, completely new world. I mean, every new child it's a new individuum since conception, and so that's the point. I mean, there's no way to get around that point. And so I'm very aware of that. And when for my own story, certainly it was important, but I mean, to be in that field and to support people getting good through this period and getting started in a good way for all of them. I mean, the parents and the child, or the child's. I can tell you another story a bit later, which was recent, just this year. It's so important because there are so many emotions going on, and it's such a big issue, and it's so heartwarming, and it's such a chance. But it's useful to be aware of it, and it's useful for my role to help them, all of them, whoever needs some help, to get it done in a good way.
Rupert, when did you start turning your study towards
My what?
your studies towards psychotherapy? Was there any story you can share in which you can let us understand how you moved smoothly from obstetrics and medicine into psychotherapy training and the combination of the two fields in one?
Well, actually, I started psychotherapy for myself already during this medical school. And so when I went into residency, I already was in psychotherapy, and then it shifted it was a very normal way from my own experience to go on to use it and see it in my work. I never divided it. So that was in the 70s, which is early. To do the studies was, I mean, then I did 3 years only psychotherapy in a clinic, in a psychosomatic clinic in the Black Forest. And then I was for a short time again in an obstetrical clinic as a senior resident. Then I opened my office in '86, so it's 40 years now. And it's 50 years since I came into the residency obstetrics. So it's but I mean, I'm still busy. It feels good. And I do my exercise. We met in Greece. We did it there, and I do it here. But the studies was when I was opening this, I did some research first on ultrasound, like this case I was presenting you. We did publish it. And we did publish many other things on ultrasounds. And I just recently bought a new ultrasound, I mean, which is $50,000. I mean, it's something. And it's great again. I mean, it's the other one was also great, but I bought it 12 years ago and time goes on. So, and because it's also important to look in a good way physically, medically. It's never divided. I always see both the psychic side, the development of the person, I mean, which is often a woman, but not always. When there are couples coming, and I have even some males in psychotherapy, and I have some males in doing breast, how do you say, breast, taking out tissues to see that it's no cancer.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I do treat some males for breast disease because I'm very well experienced in breast ultrasound. Now I see the family getting started. And so in the 90s, I was wondering, I had then some years my office, which is both. It's psychotherapy and obstetrics and gynecology. So I do all things you can imagine there. And I think it's important not to separate it. And I have the accreditation for both. That's the good point. I'm officially recognized with both fields, and I get it paid from the insurance. So it's not just private patients, it's everybody can come and get it paid. That's something from the system. And that makes it possible for me to do it, because otherwise, if I would not pay the talks, the therapy, it would be really difficult. I could not have raised our 5 children.
Mm.
And so in the 90s, I was wondering, oh, funny, I knew there's something 9% premature birth, but I didn't see them. And one other thing, I was also taking care of home birth, really. And our kids were all born at home. And it's from two women. The first 2 are from Carola and the second from Claudia. The third, the 3 to 5 from Claudia. And so I was doing my office and was thinking, oh, I hardly see premature birth, which we saw it in the hospital. I mean, and so I was wondering, and then I was lecturing. I did lectures about how to prevent premature birth by psychotherapy. That's from the 90s, so it's still some time. Now we made this nice lectures. It's 25. See here. And I send you the link, okay?
Thank you.
Actually, it's from Linder and me. And actually, it's about the work in my office. It's the Birkenfeld office. Birkenfeld is a little village outside of Pforzheim. And I send it all to you, but you can see the important thing, like the yellow is my office, doing obstetrics and psychotherapy together. And you see that this primary cesarean is half. The secondary is a little more than half. Vaginal surgery is 3 versus 9%.
1/3.
And this is the premature birth is only 2.2% versus we compared it to Baden-Württemberg and the area of Pforzheim. So it's 75% less. So we have the numbers, we can show it.
And Rupert, just very short, what is it that psychotherapy does that brings a baby to full term and not be a preemie?
I mean, you need to bring the parents to be able to bring it full term.
Right.
It's not just the baby inside, it's the whole system. Let me somehow get in there. There are some more numbers, and you can see even the age of the psychotherapy mothers was older. The patients have been on average 2 years older, which has a higher risk usually for premature birth, but they have less, much less. And even the kids they have, I think, 70 grams more in average, and they have a bigger head circumference, and so on. All things are better. But I'll send it to you, okay? I stop that now. The thing is, you need to, I mean, it's a combined thing to find out where the stress is. I mean, what is bothering them? And it can have different, it can be always the actual situation. Some stress during work or within the relation or with the parents or whatever. And it can, what is another thing is the activation of early life things, which means what was happening during the life, let's say, prenatal life of this woman and possibly of this man. They, as we know, sometimes had terrible things to survive, and somehow it comes up and they get some feeling, and I recognize it. That's the point. I have a feeling for what's going on, and I'm open to let them share it and get conscious about it, which may be a step after. The consciousness is not the first. I guess that the feeling is the first. They first have the feeling of something. And then after some time, they might understand. So unusual psychotherapy, so it's somatic psychotherapy. Because usually analytic thinking, it would be you first have to recognize and possibly then you can change things out. I don't think it works that way. I think it works another way. It's necessary to realize the feelings that are there and that would block or could block a good development. And it can be, as I said, a current situation and I mean any other life in between it can be. I mean, it's certainly, it is very, very severe if there was a sexual assault, which is not so rare as we know.
Unfortunately.
It is a terrible thing also being important, very most important for obstetric questions. Some cannot give normal birth because of memories that offended. And So that's not prenatal only. But there are prenatal things. And then there is a transgenerational thing, and what comes from earlier generations. And that is very important. That is when I was 2015 in Berkeley and at APA, and I gave a lecture about we have this special social care system in our town and area. Actually, it's in whole Germany, but we were pioneer. Pforzheim was pioneer in Baden-Württemberg, which is our state. And so we did this work since 2006, which is also some time. We were very early. Since 2012, it's compulsory for all cities and rural areas in Germany to have this early care network. But we were 6 years ahead and model region and develop things. Great things. I was there from the beginning, being the president of ISBBM, and they were very open. So since 2006, all the people in early care, which means taking care of pregnant people until years of three is completed. They are very it's very clear. Everybody knows there's life starts before birth, after conception. So everybody knows it, which is not so usual, as you may imagine.
Rupert,
And we work on this basis since those 20 years.
Rupert,
I'm moderating.
before you go on to the next, please, can you give us an idea? Back in 2006, 8, 10, or 15, as you said, when this care was well understood and offered, what exactly did it consist of?
Well, the prenatal care in our town, I can
Yes.
send you, I have a system, and yeah, early care, I will give you some information. And there is do you have this blue book? Let me see.
Yes, certainly, the handbook, of course.
Yeah, so you look on page, we have a chapter about it. On page 627.
6 to 7. Okay, thank
The
you.
early care networks in Germany and initiation of the Pforzheim study.
Okay, thank
So
you.
you see lots of things just about this point.
Great. So please go on.
And so I may be jumping. So we were on this early care. So I was telling in 2015, I was in Berkeley and was presenting this system, social care, which is very special. I think it's great. It's a great thing. And then there I met Gerlinde Metz. She did this keynote lecture. I may again share something. Let me see. Yeah, I share a few things. We get more used to it.
Yeah.
So that was actually 2015. Transgenerational programming of maternal and newborn health. So she was giving that. And well, I have more about that. She has a lecture about that. And premature birth is at mice. It's not so bad in the first generation. That's a non-stressed mice mother. F0 is parents' generation, and that's a stressed mouse mother. And that's next generation. So you see the duration of pregnancy is even worse in the next generation.
Mm.
And that means the first generation was stressed and the second and third not. But still the premature birth rate is worse, although the current mouse mother generation was not stressed, but the grandmother.
Mm. Yeah.
That's Galinda's research.
Yeah.
And we had just at that time, I bring another book. We first had this yellow book. You may not know because it's in German.
Yeah. Unfortunately, there is so much interesting work in German, which is not accessible to
I know, but that
non-German.
was the reason why we made the English one.
Yeah.
That was 2014, and this was 2020.
Yeah.
But it has a little more even, and there are many things of the German in the English, and even some interesting more, like this Pforzheim chapter is only in the English. So I met Gerlinde there, and she speaks German, and I had this yellow book with us. And I gave it to her, and she, oh my God, that's just this. We are working on the same field, and we kind of really get together. And I was with my son Per there, who's the second youngest. He loves to travel, and he had time at that point, and we went together. And I think we talked the whole lunchtime. And so then I there was also Thomas Verney about his. He did a lecture like his book, the embodied mind.
Mhm.
That came later out, but he had parts of it already in the lecture he gave at this 2015 lecture, which was not. I had always this experience from patients because they told me things from their parents, and so I had that on the screen. It was not really strange for me. I always was open for these transgenerational things. But then I told our network in Pforzheim about Galindes and about Thomas' lecture. And so they said, oh, she should come, she should give a lecture. We have one big lecture day a year for the whole team, which means 100 some people. And a year after 2016, Gerlinde came and gave her presentation. I mean, she can speak German, certainly, because she's from Kassel. Have you met her ever?
Yes, I did. I think it was in Stolpen some years.
Ah, okay. Oh, yes, but that was online.
No, it was on site, and she was speaking about this transgenerational methylation process.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. At least then Gerlinde was there, and we said we were together, the head of the, I don't know the English name, the health authority of the region. She's a doctor, Brigitte Joggast, and the chief of one hospital obstetrics, and me, and Markus Heist, he's the chief of the gynecologists. We said, oh, wow. Because she said, Pforzheim has two special things. It was the relatively worst destroyed town in all Germany, had the most destructed buildings, 70% in one night. and relatively the most deaths, 17,000 in one night, with 70,000 living. So it's a big ratio. And then we had and still have the highest migration rate. We have 60% migration background. That means one parent's part has immigrated. 60% in our town, which is a lot. And so those two things, then we said, oh, we should make a study here. And we do since then. And that's like last night we had this shipping on dry ice. Let me see.
What is the hypothesis of your study, of this specific study?
Let me see. That is in my Stiftung, it's said. And well, goes about stress and resilience during pregnancy and the offsprings. So we include pregnant couples, and at least 15% of the fathers also participate, which is not so bad. I mean, many do it not at all, but we have some.
But numbers are growing in maternal participation. That's very.
And we did this week, we put from 80 people the samples over to Canada. And they arrived before morning this morning.
What kind of biological sample do you use?
Blood, urine, milk.
Good.
Milk of the mother.
Okay.
Some placenta. But there are many things. We have a big questionnaire with 24 parts. I guess it's 280 questions about the history and also history of ancestors and actual situation and resilience score and many things. Some even special questions we developed ourselves. And then we are allowed to put in the results of obstetrics and the kids' development and the samples. I mean, that's quite something. And now it started 4 years ago and it's still going on. So it's a lot of work, as you imagine.
It is. Can you see any, even at this stage, any results that come up?
Yeah, but I will tell you more later. One is the one I did with Gerlinde. We did together go through all data of my office. And that was a time where we could include all patients.
Right.
So that is, I mean, the resilience. I certainly do some obstetric things. I sometimes put in one of these rings into the vagina. It can be of help. And I talk to them, and there are some natural oils you can use for putting on the skin, which resolve contractions. And certainly talking to them and getting the understanding how they can go on better.
Excellent.
Yeah, so that goes since then. Yeah. I want to tell, we did talk in earlier times when we worked together with ISPPM about preeclampsia. Do you remember?
Yeah, not very well, but
But there's also a chapter in here.
Okay.
about preeclampsia. I didn't even change it more. It's still very actual. And we are really doing research on that because I have a strong impression that it's a transgenerational issue. I have 4 cases. I mean, there's not much theory. I guess I'm probably the only one putting it. But I have really very strong evidence, for me at least, and we are going to prove it, certainly, as you may imagine. In all cases, there is a very severe trauma of the grandmother, of the mother of the pregnant woman. So I found out I had 3 or 4 cases, and then this came out, a real severe trauma of the mother of the pregnant mother. And then this pregnant can develop preeclampsia. Strange thing. But I mean, nobody really is on the track so far. But we are, you may imagine.
Yeah. When you say, Rupert, extreme or severe trauma, what do you mean? What do you consider a severe trauma?
Not just some.
Yeah,
Severe is
I can understand the subjectivity of
no,
the
it must be
thing.
breathtaking. And that's what it is. But it does it at the daughter or grandchild. I mean, it must be sometimes almost being killed.
Mm,
Or the one case, it's described. I have 4 cases. You can look in the book, in
yeah.
the blue. Um, it's a severe blockade. It's a real blockade of fundamental flow.
Mm,
And then it goes over to the pregnant woman who has in her this thing from her mother, and she has the problems to be flexible with her child.
mm,
I just have one new case. She had preeclampsia, and there is a new marker which I'm taking care of. That's placental growth factor is the quotient, and the S-flit soluble tyrosine, like it's in the book again.
okay.
There's a ratio which shows very well if there is a developing preeclampsia. And I use it. It's from 2 German professors, but the articles are in English. And they are very useful. So you really find out, oh, okay, there is definitely preeclampsia. And then there's another woman just recently, because I mean they come every year. You have maybe, but that's a serious one again, because she came into therapy after birth, and it's really amazing what issue is going on, and how she is developing, getting free to see what is going on with her mother in that case, which is very, very painful, because in the end, it's this trauma of the mother means that she's not really in a good way able to take care of the child, either in the womb or outside. I mean, they do take care in a physical way, but the emotions are blocked. And she's getting on the way. It's very, very exciting to see that happening, how she can get forward little step by little step.
Rupert, a little bit earlier, you said that you spoke about resilience and how we might, you implied that sometimes we may find ourselves entrapped in this trauma if we do not look at the resilience that a human being can develop, which sounds very salutogenic. And
Yes, I mean, that's what I would advocate for.
good. Could
I
you
mean, that's
just
just my field, yeah.
could you speak a little bit more about that? Because this traumatology talk is getting wider, wider, and wider, and the resilience talk or the health development or promotion talk is there, but not to the statistics we would like to see it.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, I always say, when I'm talking with people in my office, I mean, it would apply also outside, but I mean, this is talking about work. I mean, then I see when they sit on the other side, I mean, in the room, I say, well, there's one thing, they are sitting there. There are quite some things where they would not, but those are not sitting there. They are on the graveyard.
Yeah.
So those are alive. I mean, that's a fact, and we should be aware of it. So they could work to solve and to get better. And I mean, certainly salutogenesis, I would certainly refer to Aaron Antonovsky, and you know him, I guess, and it's always worth to reread things of him and the three main issues to keep them in mind. Coherence is at least one of them, but there are two others. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's what our work is, to get the things coherent and get it understanding is another of the items.
And
What
meaning.
happened? And I mean, he was working about women from the concentration camps who were able, which ones were able to get over it in a reasonable way. I mean, that's a great issue. And I mean, prenatal stuff can be similar traumatizing. I mean, the most difficult thing is what is my big field is pregnancy conflict. I mean, if the women are not sure if they can carry the baby, or if they want, or if they are able to do it. And I mean, we know there are many abortions, but it's not always that conscious. It can be in very different levels. And that can also be in generations earlier.
Mhm.
And then it's still valid. I mean, it's still doing something in the later generations, like with these mice.
Yeah.
And we certainly have that also in human, although it's still more, I mean, that's so subtle, but it's, I think, one of the most difficult things is the pregnancy, the unwanted pregnancies in earlier generations, which there certainly were, but not all of them went that badly. So some found their way, the mother with the kid and vice versa. And I mean, also the father including.
Mhm.
And so I guess that's one of the biggest issues we should keep in mind. And we ask that in our questionnaires. So I'm very curious what will come out there. And I think that's about the trauma we are speaking. I mean, some that's near-death experience, and some have. I mean, they're always almost aborted, and then it very much depends. I mean, how they change their mind and how they this is a trauma by itself, but I mean, it's not. It must not stay stuck at that. It can be worked over and can, I mean, sometimes they can unite in tears. Yeah.
There is always a deeper story behind the story.
Yeah, I mean, and it's certainly, there are parallelities, but still it's the one singular issue, this unique constellation always, but they have similarities, but it can only be solved within the one system. But I mean, that's what I mean, where it can be possible to support. I mean, maybe in my case, to understand the dark side, so to say. Yeah.
It sounds like part of your own entelechy.
What?
It sounds like part of your own entelechy.
Entelechy, what's that?
Entelechy is a Greek Aristotelian word
Yeah, I can.
that speaks about why, what is the purpose of doing what we are doing in life.
Entelechy. Okay, yeah. I mean, then now can we come to the history, certainly. I mean, I was Ludwig I was meeting Ludwig in the 90s. So when I was starting, very soon I got to know Ludwig Janus. And sometimes he was he brought people. So William Emerson was in Heidelberg. And now it's funny, I look here on the river Neckar, I look outside where I live in Heilbronn, and it's funny, I have a relation to this river because the Neckar flows through Heilbronn, but also through Heidelberg. It's 90 kilometers down, and I feel really good here. It has something. Now, William in Heidelberg, I told him, well, I was a forceps. And I was not his forceps, but I was born by help by forceps. So
Of course.
we should keep it as it is. And so he said, oh, wow, I will pull you. And I thought, okay, no, thank you. One was enough, once was enough. Don't really need it more. So I wasn't really appeased to work on that way with him. Because I was, I mean, it was a hard birth for my mother, and I did work with Carlton Terry, which was most useful from, I guess, 18, 19 to 22 or 1, something, 3 years. And I did experience that. And so I was unconscious and I was saved by this. And which was hard, sure, it was a hard birth. But then I always thought, I cannot always only stuck at this bad point.
Mm.
I would always only stuck at my birth problem, which certainly was, but I wouldn't have lived otherwise. So I thought there were better times. And so I always was fond of the early stages. So at that time, also Ludwig was not so sure. Okay, we talk about birth, but all this early stuff, conception, implantation, discovery, he was not. Klaus and me, we were always, we need to go on that because in my, I felt it's the most important. And for me, personally, it was always a resource, but those were better times.
Mm.
And I know my parents had better times there then.
Mm.
And there were some stories which were very nice. And then in 2006, I made this, I was fresh president of ISPPM from 2005. And I thought, oh, wow, Lutz, we were somewhere flying to San Diego, I guess, and in the plane with Rupert, I said, Lutz, we need to make a meeting about pregnancy conflict. And because I see it in my office, I mean, this exists. You cannot always do this romantic, oh, everything is so nice. We have a lovely candlelight birth and everything just flows. Yeah. Nice, nice, very nice. I like nice birth, sure. Although it's a wild thing. I mean, yeah, it is wild. And it can be, it should be, and yeah. And so I made this meeting the whole weekend about pregnancy conflict. There is also, I made the first book about that. And there's also two chapters are also in here in English. So you have it actually, but you may look into it more now. And so I was there in this meeting. And in a way, it was hitting ISPPM in a way that it was almost blown up. It was too much.
Mm.
So that was the start point of the problems we had a few years later, which you know.
Yeah.
You know some aspects, I know some others or more. Because that hit some people too much. They went into agitation,
Mm.
and in a way destroyed the society in a way.
So
But
you,
for me, I thought, I mean, I see this. I see the pregnant people. I see some go to abortion, not so much, less than average, but still, you cannot talk it down. So we made that. And I think it was one of the most important and exciting meetings. And these books on the chapters are also a clue for the whole field, because you cannot exclude it. You cannot close eyes and say there's nothing like that. Doesn't make sense. And then I realized, oh God, because my mother certainly was a not wanted child. And that's a very severe thing. And I don't want to speculate if I would have developed preeclampsia if I would have been female.
Mm.
Um, It was very hard. She was the second child, was a try of reunification of the parents, but it didn't work. And the mother was not much there after her birth. She went some other places and didn't want to take care much of her, and was many long times apart, and died when she was 3. And I mean, that's strong. And she was, I don't know how the Germans, 12 million Germans needed to leave their homes after war. Very good. And she never came over it. My father did better because there's another. He has another Rupert family in Palatinate, not Kurpfalz, which is Heidelberg, but the other side of the Rhine. Yes.
What do you mean? The other side?
Yeah, this is more. He was more clear and more funny sides also.
Not that much affected by death.
By what?
You mean not that affected by death, by the threat of death?
Yes, not so badly.
There is still emotion going on in you, Rupert.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not sure. Maybe I don't think Yuri gets off it because I mean it's strong, and you can I think I could do things and I enjoy things, and so I mean but I mean I cannot blow it off. The funny thing is, even Gerlinde, she also comes from Silesia. So there's a parallelity in that.
Connected with what you do as research and as a profession. And perhaps you and Gerlinde have been well prepared for that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can understand things which some people cannot.
Yeah.
Because in a way, it's way out. It's way out. I can sometimes, women come with problems after birth, and what I said, somehow I have a feeling for the dark side, which is necessary. I think to be able to help, you need to understand a part of it.
Yeah. But not, as you said, stay there.
Yeah.
And that's what you
And
have
not
to
get
do.
into shock yourself.
Yeah.
That's those two things.
Yeah. Have you ever met your grandparents, both maternal and paternal?
Say again.
Yeah. Have you met your grandparents?
Oh, yes.
What can you
Well, for
share?
my mother, she died when she was 3, so that was 1918.
Mm.
And the father, they were divorced. Also not. He died in, I think, 35. I was born 50. But I did meet the parents of my father, and they were very important, especially my grandfather, Konrad.
Conrad.
That was great. He was very important for me.
In
I
what?
was a child. I sit on a chair where I sat with him, not on a table, a writing table. Actually, it's here. Yeah, funny.
You keep
He
the
was an
memory.
impressive person. And funnily, I mean, my father was a rather famous surgeon in Heidelberg, and some people remembered my grandfather, who was a teacher for old languages and director of a Latin school in Breslau, 400 years old.
I remember you one day in Heidelberg when you were lost somewhere and came back to the group with a very old edition of a book. You were digging old books in old books shops. Perhaps
Okay.
it is it has something to do with your grandfather being a teacher of old languages.
Well, the funny thing was with him that when I was a kid, maybe 6 or 7, he was visiting us, and he was telling me the old Greek tales about Achilles,
Mm.
and that was great. Yeah, it was very nice.
So what have you kept or safeguarded from him and which has a very significant place in your life today?
Of Konrad in this case, yeah. Well, he was a strong person and was clear in his head.
Ah,
And yeah.
clarity of mind,
Hmm? Yeah.
clarity of mind and strength,
Hmm.
both good companions to resilience.
Sure.
Yeah. And from the other grandparents, although you have not spent time with them, have you heard any stories about them?
It was difficult because my mother was raised by her grandparents, which were certainly rather old at that time. And there was, well, he was then not so well recognized
Mm.
by them, I guess, which is a problem. I mean, in some times of my development, I was aware of recognizing him more, being an important person, although I don't know much of him.
Mm.
And my mother was there when she was a bit later, with 14, she came to her father, but she did not like and come along with the stepmother.
Mm.
And so that was still not easy. But yeah, I know at least Bertold was his name, and Hedwig, the one of the grandmother. But I mean, Hedwig, I think she was a very unhappy person. I mean, I don't, it's difficult to, I mean, I know my mother was affected in such a difficult way.
Mm. But then
she did not talk so much about it because I guess, I mean, it's hard to talk about the trauma. It's not really working so well, I guess. So I rather can assume things and feel into it.
yeah.
She did love the grandfather who also died then when they had to flee from Silesia. They both died, the grandparents,
Mm.
in 45.
The war just before, couple of years. The war was still there just a couple of years before you were conceived and then start your own life.
Yeah, but I mean, that was different. I think they did find hope again.
Mm.
It was a hard time, but there was not much money.
Yeah.
I was, I mean, it was very poor, everything. Many things destroyed. And
Yeah.
a time which was not lush, not at all.
Yeah. Can we bring our attention to your brother?
Mm-hmm.
How have you got any stories to share about you two uh, growing up together? What kind of relationship was there between your brother and you?
Oh, he was 8 years older, and so he was born in the war. And so, I mean, I did always admire him. He was a big boy and kind of doing things, and I always admired him, actually. And he was, I guess he was more really straight, trying to do things as they should be done. I was the youngest and was more kind of trying my way and not so straight in a way. Although, I mean, in the end, I think I really do things on the long way. So I can stick on things definitely, and as I do, as you see. I mean, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
I guess that both did. I guess my grandfather could do it, and my father also. And my father, and sometimes I always admired him, and then somehow he was jealous in a way. Funny, strange. He died in 17.
Mm.
I have some contact to one of his sons.
Mm.
Yeah, well, so it was his second wife was kind of making bad mood against me at some point when my second marriage went wrong. So
Mm.
she kind of took it personally, which was not her thing, but
Yeah.
things happen. At least I was happy to keep the contact to my kids, which was the most important.
4 kids, 4 sons, one daughter. Are they interested in your field professionally or academically?
I think they all do their different things. I don't, well, I guess there are always influences and imprints, but the younger ones from the two older, he is a doctor and is in surgery like my father and brother, and does bone surgery and orthopedics,
Mhm.
and does that well. And the others, Cornelius, the oldest one of the three younger, he's in IT.
Mm.
And Peer is a traveling guy. He works on a, how do you say, IT thing for traveling. You can book flights,
Right.
special flights, which are really inexpensive and good value. So he works on that IT company. And the youngest, he has two kids, and Jonathan has also two kids, 11 and 8. And Leonard, my youngest, he could have imagined medicine, but you need to have a very high degree. And he was good, but not that good, and didn't want to wait for years to get into. So he studied demographics. There's a
Mhm.
Max Planck Institute in Rostock, and he and his friend or partner did it all. They did it very well, and they are very clever doing it well. And they have a daughter who is 3, and just recently in April, Easter Sunday, Casimir, the youngest grandchild. Funny, great kids, really lovely, and they do it very well.
And for the people who don't know you that well, you are a fervent cyclist. Uh,
Yeah, I really like it. Cycling, uh, walking, hiking, and canoeing. I like water sports also.
yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's good. I mean, you need to do something moving and to be in air, and it really helps and makes fun and is lovely to do. It's also very nice to do it here, but it's nice to do it in Volos.
yeah, excellent. So, Rupert, let's go back to our uh, in conversation about your work. If you were to give some kind of gentle guidance to parents who consider parenthood or are pregnant at the moment or are raising a newborn or a very young child, what would be your gentle guidance to them?
Well, I encourage them all to get contact to the kid inside as soon as it can be, and they can.
Mm.
And that's very helpful. I mean, if the attachment is during pregnancy, and what is called bonding something, it's reattachment. I
Mm.
mean, they come again after the storm.
Mm.
And we should be aware of that. I always tell that when it's discussed, maybe in our local circle in Pforzheim. I say, okay, you say bonding, perfect, great what they do in the delivery room, but it's a rebonding, actually.
Mm.
And it's important to let it go and to support it, all that stuff. And so that's one thing. And I mean, the other thing is, which I tell now, but I think it should be told. The parents, they really need to aware and to take care to stay as a couple. To take care of the kid is one big point, and we do not doubt anything about that. But it's so important and would be great if they can manage it to stay as a family with two parents and kids.
You don't
I think
mean
that's
compromising. You don't mean staying for the sake of the child, but staying together in a good way because they feel that.
because they love each other. I mean, that's the point. I don't think it makes much sense to stay just for the child. I mean, it's not a, it can be done, but that's not what I mean. I mean the other.
Mm,
And it's sometimes forgotten. And I would encourage that always. And just in our network, we had again this Fachtag where there's the lecture day. And this time we had the role of the fathers. And there was one guy from, I don't know, Catholic Church men's movement, something was very good, and he had great aspects. And then was a doctor from close by, Karlsruhe. He does I have to mail him, but I was so busy I couldn't do it. So there are many things which I cannot do. So I was happy we could now meet before I leave because we have 2 weeks off after now. And so he gives birth preparation for men. And he does it in a brewery in Karlsruhe.
yeah.
And we found out his father was a colleague of me, and I was attending his birth.
Oh, really?
And when I showed you the pictures of that time in that hospital, he was born, and I was just at his birth. Isn't that funny?
Yes.
And he does now so great work. He did a marvelous lecture. It was so, everybody was wow. And I mean, that really was so lively and fun and a great thing.
Well, just because you brought our attention to the presence of fathers in the birth process of a new human, what is it that society should reconsider, and what should mothers also have in mind so that we see the fathers be where their authentic and natural position is in the family, and especially pregnancy, birth, and child rearing.
But at least it should be, it's a process and it's certainly not finished yet. I mean, men are present in, during birth, which is not so long, it's during some
Yeah.
times. I mean, I was a young doctor when the kids would stay with their mothers. That was not in the first years. It only started some years after my working there. They have been in the separate children's room and just were brought twice a day for feeding, twice a day. So, I mean, how crazy is that? But that's another story.
Yeah.
But the parents, the fathers, one point was, how can we should be aware to find a place for the fathers to be, to realize them being there present. So that's also maybe a further step necessary to really accept it and, I mean, support them. And I mean, you do not possibly need to support it, but you need to let them feel it. That's more the procedure, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's one viewpoint we should be aware of.
And what about the politicians? If they could listen to your voice, what would you like to tell them?
Well, they are now cutting fundings in almost all places, and they should be aware, and that the worst place to cut it is in the beginning of life. I mean, that really doesn't make any sense because the support at that point, that's why it's officially politics in Germany. I can send you an article that it is worth every cent because it's one of the first, it gets the investing in that point gets the best benefit of all times. So that should be aware to support the young families and to help to put up systems that support those who may have difficulties. It's the best investment that any society can do.
And if there was a young professional, either still studying obstetrics, medicine, psychotherapy, or in the early years of offering the profession, what is it that you would like to uh, tell him or her?
Well, I think I would wish every young person in the field to stay alert and interested in all aspects because it's so wide. It's much more than maybe thought in the first part. And so many things are, it's all put on quality and so certified procedures. And I think since this is in a way the real life, it's necessary to let it live and go and just to stay maybe back a bit and let it go and support just what is necessary. But to be open and curious to learn from it. I've learned so much from many, I mean, older teachers obstetrics, but also midwives. I've learned a lot of home birth midwives and psychotherapists, and you sometimes learn what you rather should not do, but that's also learning.
Yes.
That's how it goes. And yeah, I mean, stay curious and enjoy it and try to let it grow in a way.
Excellent. Rupert, is there anything you would like to add?
It's a funny thing. I will send you a link. I looked up to, I don't know how I shall. There are other precursors of mine, and I send you a Wikipedia link. Charlotte Heidenreich von Siebold. She's from my mother's family, and she lived something 1807. And let me show one last freigeben. Let me see, just a second. I have it even in English. That's nice. So she's a precursor of my mother, and she was the first obstetrician of Germany. Or actually, with her mother, the daughter, and she was assisted Queen Victoria's birth in Kensington Palace in London. I mean, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So there's quite obstetrical history, as you see. I sent you that. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Please.
It's a bit crazy, I admit, but I mean, it's funny anyways. So somehow it's amazing. I was really surprised to find out that.
Thank you for sharing. Rupert, it has been an honor to have this interview with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Olga. It was fun, and we meet again, and thank you for everything.